This is a movie that is going under everyone's radar because it is a sequel of a franchise that was a moderate hit. If you were to actually look at director Raj Kumar Gupta's filmography, it's a very solid one. In my opinion, never having really made a bad film. With a knockout feature film debut with Amir, formidable tales like No One Killed Jessica and Raid, and underrated must-watch like Ghanchakkar, the only mid-film may just be the Arjun Kapoor starrer India's Most Wanted. But never really missing the mark entirely is a feat for a career spanning more than 15 years. And I think the creator deserves a lot of respect for such a solid streak. With a respectable advance booking for Raid 2, it really puts me in an encouraging mood that all is not gloomy with Hindi cinema, at least business-wise. Raid 2 focuses on Amey Patnaik, played by Ajay Devgn, an Indian Revenue Service officer who in his 75th raid aims to expose Dada Manohar Bhai, played by Riteish Deshmukh. Amey, with his team of government officers, is fearless as he was when he was up against Rameshwar Singh, played by an exceptionally entertaining Saurabh Shukla in the first installment. The raid against Saurabh Shukla took place 7 years ago in Lucknow, and now Amey finds himself in Bhoj, where Riteish Deshmukh is treated like a demigod. As Amey is dealing with a politician with a lot of influence, he is met with several roadblocks that curb the process of exposing the man and also puts his family at risk, that includes his daughter and wife Malini, played this time by Vaani Kapoor. Just reimagine how in our favorite serials our leading men and women would change unceremoniously. Yes, the same role played by Ilyana is now played by Vaani Kapoor. How does the battle of intellect and wit develop between an honorable government official and an egotistical politician, and is Amey eventually successful in conducting the raid as all hell breaks loose in support of Dada Manohar Bhai, forms the basic premise of Raid 2. Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch Raid 2 in theaters or not. Unnecessary music and desperation to sell a movie. I remember absolutely butchering a film like Mr. Bachchan, which was a sorry excuse of a remake of Raid, and absolutely bastardized the tale of an income tax officer, eventually to become about an uncomfortable romance and even more so tacky dance performances. I critiqued it with the sole intention of wanting to expose that the audience does not need cheap tactics to be interested in a film. Raid, the 2018 movie starring Ajay Devgn, was devoid of the same, mainly focusing on songs on the personal life of Amey, and still did extremely well at the box office. My naive mind would like for films to be true to its genre, but the bitter pill that I have to also swallow is that the industry has significantly changed in its 7 years, and its risk-averse nature forces the makers to sell its music rights prior to its release, leading to songs and dance sequences that just seem out of place in a story like this. Tamanna features in a song called Nasha that has no business being there. I mean, no judgment, Tamanna should make her bread how she wants, but it's crazy to me that an otherwise talented actor in the initial phase of her career has to now strictly do item numbers to make bank. It is what it is, I guess. Even if I were to see it strictly from a choreography point of view, it's just basic. Its presence was very Nora Fatehi in a John Abraham movie Coded, and everyone has become tired of that. Tumhe Dil Lagi is a sweet song sung by Jubin Nautiyal that provides us a small glimpse into Amey's personal life, but the music in this film merely seems like a ploy to generate a pre-release revenue versus having any significance or impact in the story. If you stay through the end credits, then you'll get a random Honey Singh and Jacqueline Fernandez song also. It makes no sense. Setting and pacey storytelling. The film has a tendency to deviate, but it never strays away into a path that makes it crumble completely under its own weight. The film, with its economical running time, immediately jumps into the new task at hand. Even though, as I previously mentioned, the film does spend its time in the first half with some unnecessary music, I assume it's to acclimatize all of us with Amey's new wife. She's the same wife, guys. The storytelling, however, still sticks to getting down to brass tacks immediately. This does not cause a sense of lethargy as a viewer, but you are interested in the world of Bhoj and the influence of Riteish Deshmukh in this town. The screenplay, much like the no-nonsense and no time for small talk attitude of Amey, gets right into the case. What I also do love about the ultimate execution of the film is that it is set in the 1980s, and this in turn creates for great scope for not only the way the characters are styled, but the cars that they move in and the way information is transferred. This is a time where one really has to depend on solid intel and sifting through archaic files in order to crack someone down, and it makes this particular franchise stand out rather than just being a run-of-the-mill investigative Bollywood thriller. My pet peeve and side quests. The other aspect of the film that I found slightly unsettling was the adamant nature of Ajay to wear his sunglasses in so many scenes. For an actor who speaks so much through his intense eyes, it was frustrating for me to sit through dialogues where it just seems like the actor is mouthing them versus actually invigorating some jaan to the role. This is what makes Ajay's performance good but not great in this film. When the film solely focuses on the financial indiscrepancies of Dada Manohar Bhai, the film still coasts through with its 2 hours and 19 minutes running time. However, there is an addition by the makers, almost done so that Vaani Kapoor can be of some use in this film, that is treated with such laziness that you really feel the subplot should have never existed. This includes Vaani out of her own will going on this side quest to help out her husband, but its treatment is categorized with such easy solutions. A topic so sensitive is dealt with such broad strokes of storytelling that it leaves you hoping that the makers focus primarily on income tax and its evasion than this particular topic. For those who have seen the film, you would know what I'm talking about. There is also a point where you will clearly notice that two characters are interacting with each other, but the scene has been masked only in order to focus on their solo shots because the characters did not actually perform the scene together but with dupes. And that can be distracting, especially done for emotional, hard-hitting scenes in the second half. The calm before the storm. What I absolutely love about the first half of the film is the way the makers gaslight you into believing the utopia that is Bhoj. This is a film that really knows how to hype its villain up, and there is something so chilling about the cadence in which Riteish speaks in this film, the purity that he seeks for in everyone, the just and righteous path he has presumably taken, and it all being very amusing and doubtful in the eyes of Amey. What's funny is that Ajay Devgn arrives in the town and notices that everything is squeaky clean, and this itself causes all the red flags to rise for him. How the hell can everything be so perfect? This leads to several sequences where Amey is essentially touring Bhoj, and it is curated like the official tours of North Korea, where everyone sings praises of the supreme leader and equates their existence to his blessings. This leads to an eerie feeling within you as a viewer because you can also sniff out someone's bullshit, especially when it is masked with the slick back hair and cunning smile of Riteish Deshmukh. It reminds me of when any person on a date will say the iconic lines, "I'm not like other guys" or "I'm not like other girls." Your red flag radar immediately goes on high alert, knowing very well that their true character will emerge at the slightest inconvenience. The supporting cast. The film does a spectacular job in casting, there is absolutely no doubt about it. I love that Saurabh Shukla essentially is a spectator in this film. He is like the characters in Drishyam who discuss the developments of what is happening in the neighborhood in the tea shop near the police station. With every new development, you have Saurabh Shukla giving us a commentary of what he has read in the newspaper, an extension of the three witches from Macbeth, brewing his own conspiracy along the way. Rajat Kapoor is formidable in the role of Amey Sr., frustrated with the lack of evidence available to really crack the case. There are some surprises dispersed in the film. You've got talented actors like Vijendra Kala and Yashpal Sharma, but if I were to really seek for some levity even in the intense moments, you've got Shruti Pandey as Geeta, a fan of Amey who is absolutely hilarious in this film. Amit Sial as Lallan, however, goes a notch above that even, making you absolutely chuckle even in the most intense moment shared between Riteish and his family. Supriya Pathak does a formidable job, but eventually transforms into this caricaturish mother who is doting over her son. It didn't really sit right with me how they progressed her subplot. But if I were to speak specifically about the clash between the two leads, I really wished for a little more than I got. Ajay Devgn versus Riteish Deshmukh. I don't know whether it is the case of just watching movies consistently, but there is a lack of novelty in the pitch and style of performance executed by Ajay Devgn lately. He is intense, no doubt, he has a great command on the language, but if I were to see his performances lately as a slate, the cadence and pitch with which he almost performs in these movies seems the same. I might be sounding harsh, you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but there is a lack of uniqueness that is coming out in a lot of Ajay Devgn performances. This works in a vacuum for a film like Raid 2 because Amey as a character has no time for theatrics and gets down to business. However, the film lacked the cheeky nature of the battle of wits that got extracted with an antagonist like Saurabh Shukla. If I were to really compare the face-off between the leads, Riteish Deshmukh truly shines and steals the show in many sequences. This is an actor who has been typecast as the comedic relief throughout his career, that one assumed that he does not have range. When given the opportunity, Like he has in Marathi cinema or in a venture like Ek Villain, the actor has taken the opportunity by the scruff and excelled. And I have to tell you that the highlight of Raid 2 is really Riteish Deshmukh. Raid 2 eventually builds into becoming a solid, pacey thriller that I just wanted a little more zing from, a little more pulp in its dialogue delivery, a little more fire in its rivalry between the leads, making the venture honestly good but not exceptional. We have been devoid of even good cinema from Bollywood that I think this is also refreshing from the otherwise mediocre stuff we are handed week in and week out. And that was a video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about Raid 2. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.